Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Welcome to our match reaction for Fenerbahçe 0, Aston Villa 1 in the Europa League. Villa fans, if you're buzzing and you think this is a big result for Villa in the Europa League, make sure you are smashing that like button. Let's go for 1,000 likes on this one. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And most importantly, comment your thoughts. It is a live stream, so you can get involved in the live chat or comment your thoughts if you're watching on catch up. I'm absolutely buzzing, guys. This was a very difficult game for Aston Villa going away to Fenerbahçe. We heard about their manager before the game talking about they've got to show heart, and it was one of them games that they really wanted to step up, and you can see what it means to the players after the game. They're on their knees, that it's took it out of them. They've had to work so hard to be competitive against Villa. And I got to say, first half, I thought Villa were very, very good. And as Tyrone Mings will be going into the changing rooms, what we're going to find is that he's going to just look for his phone. He's going to check his pocket, that his jacket he's wearing when he walks off the pitch. He might have his car keys in there. I don't know whether he just left them in there because he forgot to leave them at home. And then he's going to find Duran at some point, because Duran has been absolutely pocketed this evening. Didn't have a sniff, completely manhandled. And you know what? When you saw Mings' name on the team sheet, you just knew we'd brought in the muscle. The muscle was there to manhandle, to frustrate. And Duran didn't really have a sniff, did he really? And I think that was all thanks to Aston Villa's defence. It was thanks to Mings. So there we go. And I'm hearing some good news as well. We will just confirm this while we are talking about that Aston Villa are now second in the group phase table. And this is what we said before, that if Villa can win here, we'll win at home and we'll be in that top two. So it is looking like a very good league campaign in the Europa League for Aston Villa. And I think, the big thing for me is that when I was watching that game in the second half, what did I want to see? When it got a bit stretched, it got a bit difficult, when we were having to do a bit more defending, when they were trying to stick it on us, it's mentality, use your experience from what we've seen in Europe and just see the game through. We've seen Unai getting frustrated with Yuri Tielemans. I think that just shows how much it means to Unai Emery, that he wants to progress and do well and succeed in this competition and what it means to win. And, I think this is a very important victory for Villa to go there and win. I think it shows a lot about the character of the team. It shows a lot about where we've come as a team, as a unit, because I think Fenerbahçe probably will be one of the teams that do end up going quite far in this competition. They've got good players. They're a good outfit. Their home ground is very imposing. And I think it was good. And I think Villa first half were good. And I've got to give a special mention, especially first half, because he's a player that gets a lot of criticism. And it's Sancho. And I actually felt like in that first half, there was a lot of good defensive work from him. He was working hard for the team. He was a threat. He was floating around, drifting off the right, going inside central, looking very good. And then he gets his goal, which is a very good header, because he sort of sends it back where it came from. And I really like those type of goals when they head it where it's come from, because it sort of sometimes flat foots the keeper. Put your teeth in, and we'll carry on. So I think first half we were good. What was good in the first half as well was all those open opportunities that we were having. The 3v2s, tearing down on their goal numerous times. And it was just for a lack of final ball. That final bit of quality was just lacking. How many times did we have those opportunities in the whole game where there were very nearly moments that just needed that bit of quality and just take the game away from Fenerbahçe. Because what we all know what happens in football. We all know that if you don't take your chances, what's going to end up happening is they're going to start creating some, or they're eventually going to score one. But I think we started the second half well as well. I think we looked to have that man flurry. Mings had the shot that went across. We had Buendia that ran the keeper. He tried to do a bit of a Rabona and it didn't come off. And then they start to grow into it a little bit. They brought on that player that I thought was very good, very tricky, very direct. They scored the goal that was offside. Duran was offside. So I'm very good that VAR was switched on. I mentioned in my preview that I felt like the ref had to have a good game. I thought first half, that's one of the best refereeing performances I've seen all season. And then second half, he fell apart and he had a mare. And I think his second half wasn't as good. I think he tried to let a couple of fouls go that were fouls, and it wasn't really good to see. I liked that our tactical shape, we were shifting into a 5-3-2. I thought that was good. And I thought some of the subs made a difference. I thought Garcia made a difference. I thought he looked good defensively. And I thought Villa's man of the match was Bizot. And I thought he stepped up, he owned it, and he looked very, very good. I have no idea where our number one is. It's very frustrating that our number one isn't anywhere to be seen. I have no idea, and I'll maintain these thoughts because I said it with Watkins. If you're injured, you're injured. And if you're playing, you're playing. So I don't know whether there's some form of injury, but I just don't understand it, if I'm being honest. I don't understand how he could sit out today and he's probably, I'm probably 100% sure he's going to play on Sunday against Newcastle. I don't understand. There's rumours of Inter Milan, etc. That's a distraction. We need to have the best version of Martinez. Sorry, I'm going on and on about Martinez, but it's just in my mind and I've got to say it. And I'm saying it because the number 2 stepped up and looked very, very good. So fair play to Bizot. He deserves massive credit because he's made a top save in that second half. That one, I thought he was offside, but he got down low to his sort of right-hand side and his arm was very, very strong. So shout out to Bizot. So all in all, I think the magnitude of the game is very good for Villa to win. And you can see that the performance and the victory has been rewarded because we are second in the league now. So I think while we are second in the league, we've got to talk about it because we've been rewarded for going there and getting the job done. Again, before the game, there was a lot made of Unai Emery's press conference that I thought was very, very strange. I thought he was getting asked some ridiculous questions. He got asked about whether he'd watched much of Fenerbahçe. How insulting to ask the master, Unai Emery, whether he'd watched much of Fenerbahçe. So that's why I think he was a bit annoyed and a bit frustrated in that press conference. Unai's elite. His team selection today was a bit rotated, which we all it needed to be rotated. But the clever thing about it is that it's kept players fresh. It's gave players minutes. And we're going to need the rotation. We're going to need Mings against Newcastle in the FA Cup. We're going to need to keep Lindelof fresh for the FA Cup, for the league. These players are going to need minutes. Garcia, we're going to need minutes in his legs in case he's needed and called upon. So I think the rotation was good. We got the win. Brilliant. Right, let's do player ratings. So anyone that's new to player ratings, I start talking about a player. You guys spam the chat with your scores. I'll keep having a look and we'll come up with the average. I'll try and do it off the top of my head while I'm watching. Okay, so we're going to start off with Bizot to start with. And for me, he is going to get a 10. I thought he was unbelievable. You know, the saves, the calmness, the pressure he was under at times because they were striking from distance. The concentration level was there. I thought he was very, very good and deserves to play for Aston Villa because he's a man. Like he's a strong man, and I wouldn't want to mess with him. He had a boot in a certain area, and he just dusted it off. Oh, I'm all right. Don't worry about me. And he starts making them saves. So really, to see a professional like Bizot, who is number 2, to play like that and show that calmness and maturity, absolutely brilliant. Someone's put Luke fancies him. I don't fancy Bizot. Right, let's go back to the start then. Cash. I think, to be honest, I'm going to give all the defence a very high score because I felt like the high line and the line to play them offside was so good. You know, when I see that number being high of playing them offside, I'm not looking at the attacker not timing his run. I'm looking at Villa precision playing them offside. So Cash gets an 8. Mings gets a 9 because he had Duran in his pocket. You know, he had Duran in his pocket. Again, first game in however many games. Don't worry. Just stick him in against Fenerbahçe away. Go and perform. And this is what this team's all about. It's not about sort of easing you in. I'll ease you into this one, Mings. You can have 20 minutes. No, you're in from the start and go and play and go and deliver a performance. So he stepped up brilliant. Digne, solid 8. I thought he was very, very good. I thought that ball that they tried to clip over the top of him, I think he's got that on lock, like all the time. He's so good at defending that, Digne. And then we'll go with Lindelof, who a player, and I know some people have been criticising Villa's recruitment in this window, but I mean, a free transfer, it needs talking about. What a player. What a player that Unai has just picked up and put in there. You know, when we're seeing players like Loftus-Cheek linked, I'm not fazed by that because look at Lindelof. Look what he did with Longley. Just putting them in. This is what I want you to do. I've got faith in you. And he goes out and does it. We have had a super chat as well. So I'll read this one out. £2. Another Lindelof, 9 out of 10. Preferring him to Pau. Thank you for the donation, mate. But I thought Lindelof was absolutely brilliant. Yuri Tielemans, I thought was a solid 8. I thought he just had a tempo and a rhythm that was very, very good. Top level performance. Bogard, again, I'd give him an 8 as well. I felt like in a difficult game, I thought the two of them worked really well. And I think Bogard does step up. I think Bogard does play well for Villa. So I'll give Bogard an 8 as well. Right, next up, we're going to go with Buendia. I was a little bit critical of him at half-time. I'm going to give him an 8, Buendia, because I think defensively he was very good. I thought he was very busy. There are times where I'm just like, the nearly moments. Can we just have them come off? Just those little moments. But he was good. He did get around the pitch well. And Sancho, guys, I thought, again, was very good. There was one time where he gave away the ball at the edge of the box that I hated. But I actually felt like Sancho had a good game for Villa today. And let's hope he can build on it. Let's hope he can, whenever he plays again for Villa, let's build on a good performance and let's just keep getting better. I think that's all we can ask, really. So that was fine. Rodgers was okay. I don't think it was prime time Rodgers. So I'm going to give Rodgers a 7. I actually felt like Rodgers was just cruising this game. I felt like he just cruised through it, which was good. We don't want him to get injured. And then we're going to go with Ollie Watkins, guys. Ollie Watkins is going to get... I'm going to give Watkins I'm going to be kind, and I'm going to give him a 7. There was one of those moments in the game where Watkins was driving forward and he just had to use the player on his right, sorry. And he didn't do it. And he got crashed into. And I just felt like, mate, just make these decisions clearer for me, please. So I'm a little bit frustrated with him at the minute. And I'm going to be honest, and we're linked with a striker, and I'm going to say it. This striker is not coming in to sit on the bench. This striker is coming in to play, right? He's coming in to play. So he's going to have to improve at some point. Otherwise, he will not be in the team. Because you know what Unai's like when he gets these strikers in? He puts them in the team. So, yeah, maybe I've given him a high score. But he wasn't absolutely terrible, but he needs to be better. Right, the bench. I'm going to give Garcia an 8 because I liked his tenacity. I liked his pace. I thought he added something. Interesting to see Maatsen on the left wing. That was interesting. It was okay. We shored up the game. Gesson didn't really do much, but I can't be harsh, so I'll give him a 7 because I don't think he did much when he came on. Onana, 7. I think he added a bit of physicality when he came on. And Hemming's good to see him get some minutes as well. So those are my player ratings. We'll rate Unai Emery, and he's got to get a solid 9 for that performance. And I did say that I was going to rate the ref. So I'm going to give the ref a 6. It could have been a 9, but he had a mare in the second half. So the ref gets a 6 for me. I think that's everybody. Sometimes I always miss somebody out, but we'll move on. We'll move on. Right, so those are my player ratings. And I think overall for Villa, top performance. Good to see us perform well in Europe. Good to see us win away in Europe at a hostile environment. Good to see us to be rewarded for our victory, to go second. We play again next week in the Europa League. Let's get the job done. Let's maintain it. Let's win. And we get a round off. And then we get every second leg at home, which personally, it's a luxury. I think it's just a luxury. So there we go. Right, so we move on to Newcastle. We will have a tactical Newcastle episode out tomorrow. We'll have a preview out on Saturday. We'll have a watch-along on Sunday and a match reaction. So Villa fans, there's over 600 watching. Make sure you are hitting that like button on the way out and subscribe to the channel. And just cheers for all of your support. Up the Villa.